Hello and welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Matthew Moore in Istanbul. Now, a terror attack on Istanbul's Ataturk airport on Tuesday killed dozens of people and has no doubt made many people think twice about travelling. Now, Ataturk is one of Europe's big five airports, along with Heathrow, Charles de Gaulle, Frankfurt and Amsterdam. In an average hour, 7,000 passengers passed through the airport, with just over 61 million travelling through the airport last year. With a third airport being planned, Istanbul aims to overtake Dubai as a major travel hub. And Turkish Airlines already flies to more destinations worldwide than any other carrier. Well, joining me now to look at the economic impact of the attack on Ataturk Airport is Riccardo Dugulin. He's the senior analyst and head of Europe desk at the Drum Cussac in Brussels. Now, Riccardo, let's just focus on what's going on with the airports. When an international airport of this size is attacked, it immediately attracts people's attention around the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, because as you correctly stated, Matthew, the Istanbul Ataturk airport is one of the main ones in Europe, so the attention is going to be given to how fast normal operation can resume at the airport. It was quite positive that the closure of the airport and of the airspace was quite short last night, and that Turkish authorities managed to reopen the entirety of the airport relatively fast, and that's in opposition to what happened here in Brussels after the 22nd of March attacks. So the concrete disruptions of air travel right away were quite limited, but we will of course see long-term issues in regard to the Turkish economy and especially the touristic sector, as we have been seeing in the last months and especially the beginning of 2016.
Sure, but Riccardo, this isn't purely a Turkish problem, it's actually a global problem, isn't it? I mean, over the past year we've seen terrorist attacks in Tunisia, Paris, at the Brussels airport, and they're having an effect. Let's just take a look at some of the numbers here. According to YouGov, Europe will see a potential loss of $8.2 billion in travel spending as travellers cancel their plans in response to these attacks. In recent months, hotel occupancy rates in London, Paris, Brussels, they all saw a decline of nearly 25% compared to rates a year earlier. And although travel companies and airline stocks usually take a hit in the days following the attack, historically, markets fully recover within a week of most terror attacks. Now, how are security concerns affecting the travel industry globally, in your estimation?
Well, I think we will going to see two trends in the future. So one trend is what you very well described, the impact on the financial side and on the industry at the level of each country. And then globally there is going to be a different mood for travelers, either for leisure or for business. And this mood is going to be reducing the travels when it's possible in countries that are increasingly risky. And I think of countries such as in Western Europe or Turkey that were not risky before. And this mood is going to change the way that business travel is perceived and the spendings that are linked to it. So we're going to see a drop in consumption at airports. So the time spent at airports is going to decrease because travelers increasingly want to pass controls, pass the departure hall, which is the big risk areas that, as we have seen, pass these areas quickly in order to get just to the plane and leave, when before travel would be something more enjoyable.
Right.
What we see as well...
Sorry, I was just going to ask you about holidaymakers. We've dealt with the business customers. What about holidaymakers? In Europe, it's the big summer holiday season coming up. How much does security determine where people go on their holidays, and which destinations are doing best out of this current situation?
Well, I think security has a big impact on holidaymakers because it plays on the tranquility that holidaymakers have during their period of leisure. And so that's something that really has a strong negative impact for countries that are more that are facing a wider terrorist threat. The countries that are more affected so far are France. France, obviously, we have seen a drop in the numbers of tourists going to France in the recent months after November attacks. There is a drop in Spain because Spain has issued some warnings concerning potential attacks on its coastline. But overall, there is a tendency to move within the countries, have domestic tourism rather than international tourism. And so this is another trend that is going to be shifting in the upcoming years. So that's really like a long-term kind of change in the industry.
Okay, Riccardo Dugulin in Brussels, thank you very much for your analysis. Well, there is a little positive news for Turkey's travel industry. Russian President Vladimir Putin has lifted Moscow's travel restrictions to Turkey as part of an effort to normalize ties with the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Diplomatic relations between the two countries soured after the downing of a Russian warplane that violated Turkish airspace in November. The incident prompted the Kremlin to ban Russian tourists from taking package holidays in Turkey.